let's talk about shadow work and self-love. Hi, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, and I help Wiccans establish a deep spiritual practice that connects them to themselves, nature, and the universe. And if you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to also hit the notification bell so that you don't miss anything. This video is about shadow work and about how shadow work can actually help you love yourself more, accept yourself more, so that you can live the life you want to live with peace, joy, and a more empowered sense of self. So I'm going to talk about shadow work and about how shadow work can extend beyond the normal definition of shadow work these days. And I'm also going to give you an exercise at the end that's really quick and easy that you can do to help you with your shadow work, so that you can move past just knowing what shadow work is and actually work at changing some of these beliefs that are causing the problem in the first place. So first of all, the traditional understanding of shadow work is that the shadow is those parts of ourselves that are deemed to be socially inappropriate, that we wish we didn't have, that we've been told are bad and wrong to have and express, and that we more often than not deny we even have within ourselves. I use common examples such as selfishness, arrogance, narcissism as shadow qualities, but there's many more shadow qualities. And the whole point of shadow work is to understand that every human being on this planet has these qualities within them. And even though it's been deemed to be bad or wrong in our current dualistic mindset, no matter who you are, no matter how awesome a person you may be, the shadow is still there and those characteristics are still there. So shadow work is about integrating these aspects of ourselves into our awareness of ourselves so that we can use the gifts and the power that actually lie within these qualities. So when I talk about gifts of the shadow, for example, if you've learned in your upbringing that it's not safe to ask for what you want because maybe when you were a child you were told by the adults around you that you were being selfish to ask for things, or not to keep bothering people, you should think of other people more than yourself, you always think of yourself all of the time, those kinds of messages, it can actually make you develop the skill and the ability to be able to be quite giving. So in some ways, the gift in the shadow of selfishness can actually be helping you to be a more giving and generous person, which is a good thing. The problem with that is that if you've grown up believing that asking for things that you want and need is selfish, and that you're not allowed to do that because that makes you a selfish person or a greedy person or an arrogant person, yes, you might have all of these great qualities that come out of it, but the problem is you won't be able to ask for help when you need it. You won't be able to receive help. You won't be able to receive the things that you want, and you won't feel very good about asking for what you want. In fact, when you do come to ask for what you want, you'll feel a lot of shame around that because you've been brought up with the belief that to ask for what you want is shameful. So the shadow is about understanding all of these complexities that go on in our subconscious mind about our beliefs and where these beliefs come from. These days we understand mindset, self-development, personal development work, and we can extend the shadow to include our beliefs about ourselves and the world around us. And our beliefs totally create our lives because we act on our beliefs. We judge and criticize the world around us and ourselves and other people based on our beliefs about how the world should or shouldn't be, based on our beliefs. And we create our world, magically creating our world, not even being conscious that we're magically creating the world due to these beliefs. So part of shadow work is to understand which beliefs are working for you and helping you create the life you want to live with peace, joy, and an empowered sense of self, and which beliefs aren't helping you do that. In fact, the beliefs that are probably pushing you in the opposite direction. So a big part of shadow work, and this has come from modern research into the way the mind works, into the way the brain works, is to look at our beliefs and to know where they come from. Our beliefs come from our childhood. They come from our upbringing. Between the ages of 1 to 7 years of age, we are pretty much running around living our lives in a theta brainwave state, which means we're in a hypnotic state. We're hypnotic sponges in that age group. So that means that we mirror the adults around us, we're listening to what they're saying to us, and we're seeing how the world's operating around us, and we get a sense of what's appropriate behaviour and what's inappropriate behaviour, meaning that what behaviour isn't safe, because if I do it, I'm going to either be yelled at or, in worst cases, physical violence towards me, abuse perhaps. You deem in this age group what's safe and what's not safe to do, what's safe and what's not safe to be, and so that forms your view of yourself and the view of the world around you, and you carry those beliefs from that age group into adulthood. And the problem with that is that if these beliefs aren't updated to suit you as an adult now going out in the independent world and doing what you're doing in the independent world, even if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, you're still running on a program that you constructed subconsciously, or your subconscious mind constructed, between the ages of 1 and 7. So emotionally, most of us are running around with the programming, the operating system. You may want to even see it as an analogy with computers. We're running around with an operating system that's basically a 7-year-old's operating system. So this is why we have such a struggle as adults in our lives, trying to do the things that we want to do and be who we know we could be, but for some reason we're not able to express that. And this is where the shadow work comes in. So that's a long, detailed understanding of shadow work, but it's really important to understand this because you can do all of the magic in the world to try and change your outer circumstances, all the law of attraction, manifestation things in the world to try and change your situation. But if underneath this, in your subconscious mind, you're running a program of, I don't deserve this, or I'm not good enough for that, then these things are going to be much, much harder to manifest. Or if you do manifest them, they're going to be very short-lived because you're going to end up via your behavior and your energy pushing them away. So it's really important. The shadow work is the most important thing you will ever do in self-development work, in Wiccan practice, spiritual practice, because shadow work is about you and the way you're orchestrating your life coming from in here. And it's really important that that work is done because all of the magic in the world won't help you feel better. You can't do a magic spell to get rid of anxiety about certain situations. You might be able to use some magic to help you temporarily, but if you struggle with anxiety as a disorder or as something that's really upsetting your life, magic isn't going to stop that in and of itself. You have to actually do the inner work. So that's why it's important. It's more important than doing spells even. And when you do spell work and you've done your shadow work, your magic is more likely to work better for you anyway. When we work with the shadow, we actually start to work on the process of loving ourselves and accepting ourselves, because that's what it's about. It's about removing those beliefs that don't serve us, as in the beliefs of I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I can't do this on my own, people like us don't get ahead, all of these beliefs that you may not even be consciously aware that you have. The self-love and the self-appreciation that comes out of dealing with all this stuff is absolutely amazing, and you can't do magic for that. You have to do the work in order to have that. And the more that you love yourself, the more you accept yourself, the less you judge yourself and the less you criticize yourself. And guess what that means? It actually means you stop doing that to other people. You stop being so judgmental of other people when you stop judging yourself. You stop criticizing other people when you stop criticizing yourself. I know a lot of you do shadow work and you try very hard to not be judgmental, not be critical. But while you're judging yourself and criticizing yourself, you'll always judge other people in the same way. The only way you can stop judging other people is by stop judging yourself. So how do you do this? It's about understanding a situation that you have now. So the best place to start with shadow work is to understand, where am I now? What's troubling me right now? What thing in my life isn't going well for me right now? What is it? Maybe I'm wanting to do something. Maybe you've got a project you want to work on, or you want a career path that you want to follow, or you're in a situation you want to get out of. You want a better job. You want to go back to do some study. You're thinking of changing your career. All of these decisions, and understanding what may be stopping you from being able to move forward. Now, it's a case of really being able to take responsibility for oneself here and not blame the outside world for the circumstances, no matter how horrible the outside circumstances may be. Because while we lay blame on the outer, we'll never take action. You have to take action on the inner first. So it's understanding what your beliefs are about your situation. So for example, if you are wanting to change careers, to bring in maybe more money and to have something that's much more fulfilling, then you need to know what beliefs are stopping you from doing that. What's stopping you from making that next move, and understand what the beliefs are around that. The core belief that comes up for me when I'm working one-on-one with people in this situation, every client I've worked with, we always go back to this one core belief, okay? It's the core belief of everyone I've worked with, whether it's in groups or whether it's one-to-one, and that core belief is, I'm not good enough. And underneath that I'm not good enough is often the belief that it's not safe to be who I want to be. It's not safe for me to express who I am in the world. So understanding that the reasons why you're holding yourself back from having the life you want to have is actually fear of actually moving forward, fear of who you will be when you make the change, and I'll talk more about that in another video. The fear of what other people are going to think of you if you do make this next move. You know, are people going to criticize you? Are they going to judge you? Are they going to harass you? Is what's going to happen if you make this move? If you become the person you know that you are, and you haven't been confident enough to express, if you did express that, who are you going to piss off? Who's going to be upset with you? Who's going to be jealous? Who's going to judge? Who's going to criticize? This is where you get your beliefs from, and these beliefs are what's holding you back. Shadow work is like peeling an onion. You've got layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of beliefs that are holding you back. And what you find when you're doing this work is you'll peel a layer, there'll be another layer and another layer and another layer, and you keep peeling. And sometimes it's more like an artichoke where you've kind of got the layers a little bit over top of each other, and you've sort of, some beliefs are related to other beliefs and other beliefs, it's kind of all joined up. So if you think of it that way, shadow work is an ongoing process. So think about a situation you're in at the moment that you're really struggling with, and just write down what your beliefs are about this situation, and particularly the beliefs about yourself in relation to this situation. The negative ones, not the good ones. We're not dealing with those. We want the ones that are unhelpful, that are limiting you. I'm not lovable enough. I'm not good enough. I can't do this on my own. I don't deserve this. I'm not allowed to do this. These beliefs, pick one of them, and now we're going to do an exercise to help you release that belief so that you can start to make the change on the subconscious level to your situation. So what I'm going to do is a combination of a shamanic technique and EFT tapping, okay? Because EFT is my main go-to for modalities for doing this kind of work. And I'm going to just tap on what's called the karate chop point in EFT. So if you're familiar with EFT, you'll know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, it's just these acupressure points here on the side of the palm of your hand. And you're just tapping on that. And what that does is it calms the nervous system down. So when you're speaking to the subconscious mind, you need to be able to speak to the subconscious mind in a way that it can understand you. And the only way you can actually get your subconscious mind's attention is when you are relaxed and in a slight trance state. So tapping on the side of the palm of the hand, so this is acupressure points that you're tapping on here. Just get your belief, know what your belief is, and then just insert it when I tell you to insert it. Okay, so just repeating after me. If you want to write this down so that you can do this later, just stop the video. If you're wanting to, of course, figure out what your belief is, you can stop the video until you figured out what that one belief is. You're going to have a lot of beliefs, so you might just want to work on one at a time. And just say after me. I release all contracts. I release all agreements. I release all beliefs. I release all vows. I release all spells. I release all hexes. I release all curses. I release all programs. I release all indoctrination, having been made by me or on my behalf, that has me believing, and this is where you insert your belief, that I'm not good enough. I release this from my mother and father. I release this from my ancestors. I release this from my DNA. I release this from my cellular body. I release this from my bloodline. I release this from my past life. I release this from my present life. Through all time and space. By the grace of my higher self and my true will, so be it now. By the grace of my higher self and my true will, so be it now. By the grace of my higher self and my true will, so be it now. And then you can keep tapping, and this is what we call a pattern interrupt and a bit of reframing. You can say to yourself, what if I can be good enough and safe at the same time? What if I can be good enough and safe at the same time? What if I could be safe and good enough at the same time? And you can keep asking yourself that question over and over and over again, and then taking a deep breath and letting it out. When you're doing that tapping, you may feel things going on in your body. You may feel energy, tingling and things going on in different parts of your body. That's very normal. That's the energy moving around and the energy being released. Because what these beliefs do is they block our energy. And so the tapping actually also helps on an energetic, in an energetic way to release the blocks. You may find that some of the energy or tingling or sensations are in different chakras or different parts of your body. So that will be where the blocked energy is. So it depends on what you're tapping on and what you're releasing as to where you may feel that energy. So that's a technique that you can use to help you release and change those negative beliefs, those limiting beliefs about yourself. And the reason why at the end I always say, what if I can be whatever the opposite? What if I can be good enough? Or what if I am deserving? What if I am allowed to express myself? Whatever it is that you weren't allowed to do or you felt you couldn't do, if you say, what if I can do that and be safe at the same time, you're actually letting that part of you know, your ego know, that this is a program update. And even though you've been keeping me safe by giving me this belief that I can't be something or do something, I'm now updating the program and letting you know that I want you to still keep me safe, but I want to be able to do this at the same time. And you'll be surprised at how that changes your thinking and how you see the world. So that is some shadow tapping along with some information about shadow work. And if you are interested in pursuing one-on-one shadow work with me, I will put the link to a free chat that you can have with me. It's really just to give you some clarity about where you're at and what type of shadow work may be suitable for you to do. It's a 30-minute talk with me, one-on-one over Zoom, where I give you clarity about your situation, what's keeping you stuck, and if you're up for it and if you want to pursue it, we can talk about how we may be able to work together. So do take advantage of that. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Give me comments, particularly in the comments field below this video, to let me know what you think about the idea and how your tapping went. I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, and I'll see you on the next video. Blessed be.